Football Final, presented by Mazda.
We begin college football final with bowling season. FIU in Miami. Butch Davis facing his former team, and they get their first win over a Power 5 to get bowl eligible. How about Butch in the Gatorade bath? FIU beats Miami 30-24. Marshall visiting Charlotte. Conference USA. Chris Reynolds and Victor Tucker in Charlotte for the first time since joining FBS 2015 is bowl eligible, and their locker room is a club afterwards. Literally a club.
Except it's missing the win.
And with that, welcome into club. College football final.
Charlotte's locker room is better than any SEC locker room out there. Getting lit.
You're not.
That's how Joey used to be.
If that song came on in the club, I'd go sit down. You two would head to the dance floor.
Joey still goes to clubs, by the way.
Oh, 100%.
What's wrong with that? I don't understand what's wrong with that.
Jesse Palmer, Joey Galloway, Matt Barrie, we were having fun at the club. Joey's just kind of hanging out. Ohio State was looking to dance their way to a Big Ten championship game. Chase Young was back, had an impact early, comes in from the same side, gets the sack.
What was Penn State thinking, trying to block Chase Young with just one player? Had 3 sacks in this game, 4 tackles for loss. As usual, Chase Young puts his stamp on the big game.
Made it look easy as usual. Give the ball to J.K. Dobbins, pace the Buckeyes in the first half.
Well, Ohio State came out in this game with an idea that they were going to be the more physical team and dominate up front. Their first drive went 13 plays, 91 yards for a touchdown. 12 of those plays runs, a lot of it J.K. Dobbins.
Buckeyes led 14-0 at the half. Third quarter, the winner the last 3 years has come back from a double-digit deficit in the second half. Here comes Penn State. Sean Clifford, he goes down.
Goes down, leaves the game, does not come back in. All of a sudden, let's see what they can do with Levis at quarterback.
So Will Levis, the backup, keeps it, runs 10 yards for the first down. 2 plays later, good effort out of Levis. This time, Journey Brown, what an effort out of him.
Yeah, he came into this game with 2 straight 100-yard games, breaks 3 tackles. You see the straight arms, and all of a sudden, Penn State started to build some momentum.
So 21-7 at this point. First play, Ohio State's ensuing possessions. Dobbin gets the ball. He coughs it up.
When they got up 21-0, we figured the game was over the way they played on defense, but then the turnovers. That's the way you get back in games on the road against good teams, creating turnovers, and that's what Penn State did.
Penn State has life. First and goal. James Franklin sticks with Levis, and he keeps it in.
It's a big boy, 6'3", 230 pounds, and now Penn State, they're rolling on the road.
Perhaps something to keep an eye on with Ohio State in the future. 3 turnovers on Saturday, most they've had all season. So the Nittany Lions recover. That to Justin Fields' fumble. And Penn State is in the driver's seat to come back. Ensuing drive. Keep an eye on Young.
And if you're Penn State, you always have to keep an eye on Young. Once again, they try to block him with just one offensive tackle. But honestly, the entire defense was in the backfield. This is a very talented defense, especially up front. They get to the quarterback.
9 tackles, 3 sacks, 16.5 on the season. Team record, field goal 21-17. Fourth quarter, this the ball game. Chris Olave.
Yeah, Justin Fields had 2 fumbles. He fumbled once going into the end zone, but he was pretty efficient throwing it. 16 of 22 on the day. Great catch here by Chris Olave.
Ohio State clinches the Big Ten East. They get the win, 28-17. Ryan Day, what did you learn?
I said it to one of the coaches, maybe it's been a little too easy at times. And this was hard today. And we learned some lessons, and now hopefully we can grow from there.
We just didn't play well enough today to win. We did not have enough explosive plays. Did not have enough explosive plays. And then early on, the quarterback's legs were significant. But we battled. That's who we are.
I was itching to get back on the field, just not being on there for 2 weeks. And I just tried to, give it all I had today. And, we won the game, and, that's all we care about.
He's unique, to say the least. On Saturday, Chase became the first Big Ten player to reach 9 tackles, 3 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles since Purdue's Ryan Kerrigan in 2010. He's played 9 games, led the Buckeyes in quarterback pressures in 8 of them. Again, he was out 2 games with a suspension for the money that he took for a bowl game, paid it back. NCAA weighed in. Chase Young back. Take me inside the film.
Chase Young's an absolute game wrecker, all right? And he's a guy you got to account for. Joey was just telling you, if you try to block him with one guy, he makes you pay. Did most of his damage against right tackle Will Fries in this game. You see the running back lined up to that side? He has an opportunity to help Chip. He doesn't. So one-on-one, Chase Young gets home in about two and a half seconds. He's living there. Next play, he's standing up this time, tight end, running back to his side. They both release on a route. So So no one's helping the right tackle. And again, Chase Young, 2.2 seconds. Now again, this time they're going to slide his way. Right tackle, you've got to get set, force him back inside where you get help from the guard. Chase Young essentially a shadow in this game all game. But his effect, right? It's not just 3 sacks, but you didn't see Penn State attempt a lot of 7-step drops. It was RPOs. It was a lot of slants. He affects the way opposing offensive coordinators call games. He handcuffs those coordinators, and now Michigan's Josh Gaddis. It's his turn next week.
It's as dominant a player we've seen in quite some time. On the other side of the ball with Ohio State's offense, J.K. Dobbins continues to be the guy that paces that.
And Ohio State has played 3 ranked teams so far, Wisconsin, Michigan State, and now Penn State. In those games, J.K. Dobbins has been over 150 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns in those 3 games. And he is just a physical downhill runner. This one, offensive line does a terrific job, straight up the gut. Now who's going to tackle Dobbins? You better come in low because he will try to run you over. He also has the speed to bounce it out wide. The offensive line knows they just have to get in front of their guy. Receivers just get a piece of the defensive backs, and then Dobbins gets into the second level, and it's the first guy doesn't bring him down. He runs past this guy, and you don't have to give him a huge hole. He's 5'10", 217, low to the ground, one-on-one with a safety. He wants to get in the end zone more than the safety wants to stop him. J.K. Dobbins now passes Edward Nathan George, who won the Heisman Trophy, moves into 3rd place all-time rushing at Ohio State.
Good example of why coming into Saturday, Ohio State led the nation in scoring offense and scoring defense. Complete team getting ready for Michigan next week. The game of the day, the upset of the day, to the desert. Oregon and Arizona State, as seen on ABC in primetime. First play, 4th quarter, Oregon trailing 13-7. 1st and 10. Justin Herbert had a rough one, picked by Jack.
Yeah, he started hot, 7 of 11 for 105 yards, but then he was just missing throws, bad location, late on throws, and it would cost this offense.
Ensuing Sun Devils possession, Jaden Daniels, the true freshman, great touch to Frank Darby.
And Jaden Daniels has an up-and-down season, but in this game, played like the veteran, 408 yards passing, 2 touchdowns.
Sun Devils up 21-7. Herbert picked again. Kalen Curse Thomas, the interception. Oregon fans can't believe it. Sun Devils tack on a field goal, 24-7. Here come the Ducks. Here comes Cyrus Habibi Lakio.
So quarterback struggling, you got to be able to run the ball. That's what Oregon does. They averaged 5.5 yards a carry.
Oregon cuts the deficit to 10, so they get a stop, and they were scoring quick. Herbert, Johnny Johnson, 23-yard gain. Oregon fans are like, uh-oh, here we go. Very next play design, perfect Johnny Johnson.
Johnny Johnson had a big one, 10 catches, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was bringing Oregon back all by himself.
Just a 3-point game. Sun Devils, it was just 24-7. Ensuing Sun Devil drive, 2nd and 9. Daniels rolls to his left, sacked. Oregon gets the momentum.
Take the sack.
That's a true freshman moment.
3rd and 16.
Very next play, 3rd and 16. Daniels, Brandon Aiyuk. Oh, my
on
ball.
The double move, curl and go. You cannot throw the ball any better. How about the true freshman Jaden Daniels out-dueling a first-round pick in Justin Herbert? 408 yards for Daniels. Huge win for her.
What an upset, 31-28.
I think we're trying to build a program, and it's been a lot of fun. I tell you what, I don't sleep good at night, though.
Things like this, they either rip a team apart or they bring it closer together. And to do so, you've got to always be honest, right?
Playoff hopes for the Pac-12 take a hit. So now Utah trying not to get Arizona trapped against the Cats. 3rd and 9. Tyler Huntley gets sacked by Colin Schooler. Loss of 9. And after the sack, look at this. Tony Fields comes in and shoves the Utah player. Fields an unsportsmanlike conduct. Kevin Sumlin's like, dude, you can't do that.
Yeah, and that's why Arizona's 4-6 on the season. Decisions like that.
Here, Huntley to Brant Heathy takes it in for the touchdown.
That
Utah
caps off, 11-play, 75-yard drive for Utah.
All right, so 3rd and 6 on 46. Huntley again. Keithy, more yards for him.
Keithy had 4 catches for 81 yards. Just a big one in the middle. Make a couple guys miss huge first down.
Tell you what, Utah, they just take the ball and they will just move it right down the field on you. Here, Huntley, quick pass to Damari Simpkins. 3-yard touchdown. Utah up 14-0 at that point. Second half, no real drama for Utah in this one. Huntley, Zach Moss, keep giving it to him.
Yeah, Zach Moss, he is a workhorse, 26 carries. He's the guy that wears defenses down, over 200 yards rushing and a touch. Utah wins 35-7.
No sweat for Utah. They don't get upset. So now we look at the Pac-12's playoff chances. Now, Oregon, you would think, just because they lost, they're out of the playoff, which is true. But did Oregon's loss not only knock them out, but Utah as well?
I think it hurts Utah. I wouldn't necessarily say it knocks them out. And I guarantee you at the Utah game, they were like announcing that Oregon score. And I guarantee you those fans were not happy that Oregon was losing. All the conversation we've had is if the Pac-12 can get to the championship game with a one-loss Oregon, a one-loss Utah sitting at number 6 and number 7, if someone won that game convincingly, they had a chance to get in. A lot of people thought Oregon was the better team out of the two. Now Oregon is out of it. It definitely hurts the Pac-12 and Utah's chances.
Utah's a very good team, though, when you watch them. Just from the eye test standpoint, okay? They've got a quarterback in Tyler Huntley that's playing extremely efficiently. They've got one of the better running backs in the country in Zach Moss. But what makes them unique to me is the defense and how much they dominate on that side of the football. Their D-line punishes people, led by Bradley and Nye. They tackle, they fly around. And I think their defense would at least give them a chance against anybody in the playoff. The question now is, how far does Oregon fall? Right. Utah needs them to be ranked as high as possible when they match up in the Pac-12 title game, and Utah has to dominate and win that game. Utah in a bad position because of playing BYU, Northern Illinois, Idaho State in non-conference, where you look at the teams that they're competing against here for that 4th spot. Bama's still having to go to Auburn, and then Oklahoma with 2 ranked opponents still remaining on their schedule as well. Pac-12 not in a great spot.
I'll throw you this, though. Utah's only loss in the season to this point is to USC, who's picked it up at the end of the season, finished the season 8-4, and they are ranked. So a loss at the time that didn't look good looks a little bit better than
Zach Moss and Huntley got hurt in that game, too.
And if that's Utah's only loss, no shame in that, losing to a ranked USC team. Still ahead, Oklahoma, they want a spot in the Big 12. Baylor, they want revenge. We'll set the Big 12 championship coming up. Plus, if you like some soft opponents, it was that annual week for the SEC. Mac Jones gets his first start. Auburn rolls. That and more still ahead on College Football Final.
College Football Final is presented by Mazda, Feel Alive, and in part by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
Welcome back to College Football Final, presented by Mazda. What we're going to do here is we're going to put the Big 12 championship to bed. OU taking on TCU, 3rd quarter. TCU down 21-10. True freshman Max Duggan designed run and fights for this.
And he ran hard. He struggled throwing the ball in this game, but he ran for 92 yards here. Very physical, getting some help from his friends, and TCU would pull to within 4.
All right, so 21-17 there. And how about Jalen Hurts? He, too, the quarterback, run and fights for the touchdown.
Jalen Hurts, 28 carries, 173 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He was nasty with his feet.
All right, so 28-17 at that point. 13 minutes left to play. 4th quarter. Hurts picked off by Vernon Scott, and we've got a convoy and 98 yards of grass.
This has been a huge issue for Oklahoma, certainly recently. 3 last week against Baylor. They were able to overcome that, but 3 more in this game with the pick 6. TCU down 28-24.
All of a sudden, we have a game under 2 to play. Jalen can't believe it. Can Duggan come through? The answer, 4th and 6, picked. Ball game. Oklahoma clinches a spot in the Big 12 title, 28-24. Here's Lincoln Riley.
We are thrilled about the win. TCU's hard to beat. They're always hard to beat, and what it means. The 10th win. Get to play in the Big 12 championship game here in a couple of weeks, which is significant. Obviously, it's a big deal, and it's exciting. And I still know our best ball's out there, and our team feels like that too. And we're gaining on it, and we're going to go work our tails off and try to put it all together.
OU in, Baylor with the win against Texas. They would get in. Matt Rule trying to bounce back from last week. Tom Herman doing that.
Whoa.
Bonus, what were you
Triple. Yeah, that should be on what were you thinking.
That is, come on. First play, 2nd quarter, near the red zone. John Lovett finds a whole touchdown Baylor.
And Baylor suffered their first loss of the season against Oklahoma last week, up 25, didn't lose that game. How would this team bounce back. Ranked at number 14 now. Still have a chance to make some noise.
That's a good point. 7-0 Baylor late in the third, 14-3. Charlie Brewer to Denzel Mims.
Mims has been so good down in the red zone. He's 6'3", has long arms, a career-high 125 yards receiving in this one.
Mims, this is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot. Early fourth quarter, Sam Ehlinger deep. Picked off by Graylin Arnold.
How about the first time in Ehlinger's career he has not accounted for one touchdown in a game that he's played the entire game. Offensively, this Texas team doesn't look the same as they looked early in the season.
Yeah, stunning what we've seen out of Ehlinger and the Longhorns. I know injuries have been a factor, but still, off the interception here, Brewer keeps a quarterback draw, takes a big hit.
Yeah, he led the team with 75 rushing yards, but we know when we watch him play, he doesn't like to slide, takes a huge hit to the head. He'd get knocked out of the game, would not return. Baylor would win, though, and clinch a spot in the Big 12 title.
So 24-10, and what a turnaround it's been for Matt Rule.
2 years ago, we lost 6 games at home, and to now come back 2 years later and to win 6 games at home, I think it means a great deal. To play a Texas team that 2 years ago we couldn't do very much against, and to beat them, and it wasn't always pretty. That's what made it fun, though. It was just a grind-it, tough, hard-nosed win.
Who had this, by the way? Stunning graphic. Matt Rule and Tom Herman both in their third season. Both improved their win total from 1 to 2, but it's Rule. Matt Rule, after what everything Baylor's gone through, is playing in the Big 12 championship game. Texas is going the other way. Remember, Baylor, 5th team, first in the Power 5 conference to win 10 games within 2 years of losing 11. Not sure many people had that development. Let's talk LSU and Arkansas. We kind of knew it was going to happen in this one, right? Shaq was going to show up.
Shaq was going to show up.
And have fun when he got there.
Yeah.
He's going to lift the
get some shoulder work, a military press.
That's it. And you know what Joe Burrow did? Joe Burrow.
Yeah, only question this game is how long are their starters going to stay in the game? How long is Joe Burrow going to stay in the game? 612 total offense for LSU.
327 yards, 3 touchdowns for Burrow, stayed in through the third quarter. This guy might be the team MVP.
Yeah, no doubt. We keep talking about Burrow, and he's the 4th quarterback now in SEC history to throw for 4,000 yards in the season. But how good is Clyde Edwards-Helaire been? 188 yards, 3 scores, LSU roll.
56-20. Coach, they want to celebrate tonight.
There was going to be not too much of a celebration to beat Arkansas. They haven't beaten anybody in a long time. So we were supposed to win that football game, and on to Texas A&M.
All right, so Coach O telling the truth in that one. What about Alabama taking on Western Carolina? 2 on the sideline in a golf cart, got an ovation.
Man, I mean, it means everything, whether I'm feeling good or not, just being out here kind of uplifts my spirit, and I hope it does the same for them. But I mean, just being out here, being able to see football again, and I mean, it's just great. It's a great feeling.
It was good to see him there out for the season. That means Mac Jones getting his first career start at Alabama. Here's key number 1. Find DeVonta Smith and the playmakers.
And this is the last rehearsal for Mac Jones. Next week, they play Auburn in a big game. Mac Jones went 10 of 12, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns, making it look easy.
Tua loves it. Later in the first, Western Carolina with the ball. Tyree Adams drops back to pass. Xavier McKinney, little Oski.
Yeah, Tyree Adams struggled in this game, to put it nicely. Threw 4 picks in this one. And here, just a great individual effort by McKinney on the deflection, getting the pick, taking it to the house.
McKinney continued to dominate, though, and Adams continued to feel pressure. Stopped by McKinney, and then catches his own pass. There's a lot of bad here.
Yeah, you got to let this ball go, bat it down, and then if you do catch it, Matt Barrie, tuck it away.
Well, he didn't, and McKinney finished with 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 1 touchdown. Good defensive effort out of him. Tali Tagovailoa, younger brother of Tua, got some action. Throws a screen here to Smith, his first career touchdown pass at Alabama.
Yeah, good news for him. When you got these types of receivers, they can make things happen out in the space, as you see right here by DeVonta Smith. So Alabama rolls. Now the big question next week at Auburn in that audition for the committee to get into the top 4.
66-3 the final. Auburn at home taking on Samford. Second quarter, Auburn leads. There's Boobie Whitlow. There wasn't going to be a mystery in this one.
No, Whitlow had 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. Pretty easy for Auburn to move the ball against Samford.
Got to get Bo Nix in rhythm.
He's going to need a lot of confidence, obviously, heading into that game next week. 8 touchdowns, no picks this year against unranked opponents.
Auburn would go on to win 52-0. So an output of scoring from both teams in Alabama entering the Iron Bowl combined. Entering Saturday, Auburn and Alabama's quarterbacks, they combined for 11 starts. No worries. Just the 3rd time in an AP poll era that both Alabama and Auburn both won by 50 points on the same today. It also happened in September of 2018 and back in 1974. So, gentlemen, here we are. Iron Bowl week. It's set. Auburn and Alabama in this one. The storyline now, final audition for Alabama. Big start for Mac Jones, perhaps the biggest game in history.
All eyes on Mac Jones making this start on the road in a hostile environment at Jordan-Hare. But I think the big key is offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian. I think he has to call an aggressive game plan, the way he would call a game if Tua was in the lineup. You got to throw deep. You got to throw on first down. Allow these wide receivers to use their speed, get behind the defense. I don't think running the football and playing it safe with bubble screens against that D-line and that defense from Auburn would be enough.
Mac Jones so far has seen Arkansas's defense, has seen West Carolina's defense. Now here comes Auburn, one of the best defenses in the country. And this is a team that stays in game by playing good defense. They've had 3 tough losses this season against really good football teams. And if there's a question for Auburn, it's Bo Nix.
Yeah.
And if I'm Alabama, I'm looking at Mac Jones. I think the bigger question in this game is how will Bo Nix play? He's a young, true freshman that hasn't developed probably the way Auburn needs him to, but defensively, they're really good.
You always have to worry about young, true freshmen.
You have to wonder about Mac Jones. He's an experienced quarterback right now. This is the biggest game of his life. An opportunity. Alabama, though, he's got the playmakers that perhaps Auburn not. They a lot of toys.
Looks like fun.
A lot of toys, a lot of eye candy for Alabama. So the Iron Bowl is going to be fun. Final resume builder for the Tide. Speaking of resume builders, all Georgia does. It may not be a Picasso, but it continues to win in the slop. We'll check in on the Dogs and how might the upset on Saturday affect the rankings and the race for #1. Why it is so important. That and more still ahead on College Football Final.
Welcome back to College Football Final, presented by Mazda.
If you haven't gotten enough of Jesse and Joey, and let's be honest, who doesn't? The College Football Top 25 show Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. Latest rankings will come out. By the way, I'll be on the Twitter version of the show.
There you go.
Yeah,
really
so
good.
There's just this whole crew is going to be all over the place.
Can't wait for that.
Texas A&M and Georgia. First regular season matchup since Texas A&M joined the SEC. You've got UGA, you've got Reveille, you've got all kinds of fun in this one. And early on, Jake Fromm struggled, but here a dime to George Pickens.
And it's been the past couple games. Jake Fromm completing less than 50% of his passes, went 11 of 23 for 163 and a touchdown in this one.
Guys, Aggies trailing 19-6. Give Kellen Mond and them credit. They get back. Jamon Osmond the touchdown.
Yeah, the Bulldogs held Texas A&M to just -1 rushing yards, so they had to do it through the air. Kellen Mond threw it 42 times. This one, touchdown pass to Auburn.
All right, so 19-13. Georgia looking to seal the win. DeAndre Swift off the left side. A&M now 0-4 against ranked teams this season. Georgia gets the win, 19-13. All right, time now to see who you think should be in the college football playoff with the Capital One fan vote. Jesse and Joey's top 5 remains the same. Top 4, the most important part, but with the upset on Saturday, there are a couple things we want to discuss. Joey, I'm going to start with you. With Oregon going down, who might benefit for that race for the 4th and final playoff spot?
We were having a lot of conversation about the Pac-12, sitting at 6 with Oregon, 7 with Utah. If they played in the Pac-12 championship game, that team had a chance to jump teams like Alabama, assuming Georgia might lose to LSU in the SEC championship game. So now Oregon moves back, and I believe that hurts the entire Pac-12 chances of getting in. So Alabama's excited about that loss. Even Georgia's excited about that loss. And the Big 12 is back in the discussion. Oklahoma had a close game, didn't look impressive, but they won. Moving forward, though, if you look at the one-loss teams and the way they've played, even with Mac Jones, I don't know that anybody's beaten Alabama with their offensive firepower. So if this committee goes eyeball test, Alabama is right in the mix to possibly get at #4.
Perhaps the biggest victory on Saturday was the Tide with that upset. Okay, Jesse, we want to focus on with you the race for the #1 spot and why that matters between these two teams in LSU.
The committee right now has LSU 1. They've got Ohio State 2. But I think that race for #1 here in the next couple of weeks is really important. I think, guys, for 3 main reasons. #1, obviously the team that finishes first guarantees themselves the best possible home field advantage in the semifinal. But #2, the team that finishes #1 in all likelihood is going to avoid Clemson in the semifinal. And Clemson, a team right now that's won 6 straight by 30 or more points. I don't think anybody wants to play the defending national champions right now, but 3. The team that enters the conference championship game #1 stands the best chance of staying in the top 4 if they were to slip up and lose. Now, I think you could see some movement between 1 and 2 in the next couple weeks. If Ohio State beat Michigan next week, I think you could see Ohio State jump. If LSU beats the #4 Georgia in the SEC title game, you could see LSU jump back again. So just keep an eye on that #1 spot because it is very important.
Going to look like a stock market. The race for 4, the race for 1. Who's going to get it? We'll find out in the next couple of weeks. And we have a remarkable slate of games coming up in the regular season finale for a lot of teams. You have Ohio State, Michigan, the rivalry there. Clemson gets South Carolina. Remember, go to Twitter and put in your vote on SportsCenter's Twitter handle on Monday. You know, shaky situation for Michigan, maybe going to take on Indiana, but boy, that offense continues to roll. 14-7, Wolverines trail. Patterson, Shea Patterson, and Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Peoples-Jones had 5 catches for 73 yards and 1 touchdown, and this is an outstanding catch over the outside shoulder, brings it in.
Ties it, and they never looked back. This time, Shea to Nico Collins.
How good has Patterson been now the last 2 games? 366, 5 TD passes for Patterson.
He's been so good, he was ineligible for a helmet sticker because we can't just give him out all the time to the same guy. And again, here to Collins.
Yeah, and that's the big playability of this Michigan offense. In these past few games, Collins 6 catches, 165 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
And Patterson 6 of 7 for 165, 3 touchdowns when targeting Collins. Michigan wins 39-14. Jim Harbaugh, how long do you enjoy this?
On average, I would say after win, I pretty much enjoy it for anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. Then after about hour 6, I stop thinking about this game and, pretty much go to the next one.
Yeah, but I bet he goes hard for 4 to 6 hours.
Oh, man.
You know he is lit.
There is so much steak and milk being drinking in those 4 to 6 hours. So he's no longer enjoying it like Tanner Morgan. His game time decision, Minnesota gets College game day, virtual lock implications. Tanner Morgan gets the start, finds Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, after being in concussion protocol all week after their loss against Iowa last week, Tanner Morgan got the start, played well, had time to throw through 4 TD passes in this.
And again, this to stay alive in the Big Ten West, and again, it's to Bateman.
Yeah, when they gave him a clean pocket, Tanner Morgan throws the ball as well as anyone in the country. Bateman had 3 touchdowns.
New single-season school record, 25 passing touchdowns for Morgan. They're up big. This time to Tyler Johnson.
And give the O-line credit, too. A lot of good pass pro here, but they also ran the ball for 212 yards, and that was a huge problem, something they didn't do last week when they lost to the Hawkeyes.
Bateman and Johnson become the first Gophers teammates to eclipse 1,000 yards in the receiving in the same season. First 10-win season since 2003. Hey, Gophers, College game day coming to your city, 38-22. They rode the boat on Saturday. That sets up the big one, winner take all for the Big Ten championship spot out of the West against Wisconsin. Jonathan Taylor, this guy's good.
Taylor was a workhorse, carried it 28 times, 222 yards, and 1 touchdown. Could possibly get a helmet sticker.
Wisconsin goes up 14-3 later in the game. Midway through the 4th, Taylor, 24-yard pickup. That was big. Gave him over 200 rushing yards on the day. 12th game of 200-plus rushing yards. Most in FBS history. 3 plays later, 3rd and goal. He didn't even get the touchdown, Jazz.
No, yeah, you didn't need to at this point here. Coach Chris just dialing up all different types of looks. But Wisconsin right now, they're rolling. Jack Cohen also 15 of 19 throwing the football in this one. They're looking to win the West next week.
And you wouldn't believe what happened in the Harvard-Yale game, halftime and football. And who was the best to wear number 3 all-time? Our countdown continues. So does college football final. What a wild day between Yale and Harvard. The game, 136 meeting, delayed for 48 minutes at halftime due to a student protest on the field. They were protesting climate change. 48 minutes. This was at halftime to start the 3rd quarter. Students would get escorted off by the police. When we finally played football, fourth quarter, Yale down 36-29, onside kick. Reed Klubnik recovers the onside for Yale. Yale gets the ball, minute and a half to go, again down. 22 seconds to go. Kurt Rawlings to JP SoFi.
And he was slinging the pill. 53 pass attempts, 417 yards. Yale ties the game at 36.
So we're in overtime, second overtime now. Rawlings to Zane Dudek, touchdown. Yale up 50-43. Harvard's last chance, 4th and 5. Joey, call me a ball play.
Yeah, you got to get the ball out quicker if you're the quarterback. Oh, 4th and 5, it's short. Let the celebration begin as Yale clinches a share of the Ivy League title with Dartmouth.
Unbelievable game. What a game. The 136th edition of Harvard-Yale had 93 points, the most in the rivalry's history. Yale's 10-point ended the third quarter comeback, their largest in rivalry history, and is the 5th straight loss for the Crimson, each by 7 points or fewer. Wild scene. SMU and Navy. Fourth quarter, SMU trailing 28-21, 39-yard line. Shane Buechele to Rasheed Rice, avoids a couple tacklers, 61 yards.
Shane Buechele came into this one having 2 straight passing games of over 400 yards because of receivers like this that can get you yak.
That tied it at 28 after the yak. You know who gets yak on his own? Malcolm Perry.
Don't let the size fool you. He had a big one. 162 passing yards, 1 touchdown. 195 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns. You got to contain him, Matt Barrie.
Helmet sticker implications for the running helmet. Less than 3 minutes remaining. Buechele, end zone, incomplete. Navy wins. SMU has now lost 2 of their last 3 after starting 8-0. BC and Notre Dame, Ian Book and the Irish have found their stride, thanks in large part to Chase Claypool.
He's Canadian. That's his 10th touchdown catch of the year. That's the most since Will Fuller at Notre Dame. Will Fuller not Canadian.
Notre Dame up 13-7. Will Fuller, in fact, not Canadian. Irish up. His other favorite target, Cole Kmet.
Yeah, Ian Book, 3 touchdowns passing on this day, and their defense did a really nice job against A.J. Dillon, hold him under 60 yards rushing.
All this was for the Irish, 7th consecutive win against BC. That's the longest streak in series history. Braden Lindsay, look at this one.
A lot of balance, 501 total yards for the Irish offense. They're looking for a 10-win season. They'll get a chance next week when they travel to Stanford.
40-7 the final. Let's talk all LA, UCLA, USC. Keaton Slovis had a game. This one to Michael Pittman Jr.
All the great quarterbacks at USC, none of them have thrown for 515 yards. Keaton Slovis, a USC record.
You say Pittman 13 for 104 and 2 touchdowns. This time to Drake London.
4 different receivers had over 100 yards. How about Drake London, the freshman, 6'5"? He's making plays.
Drake started at the bottom. Now he's here, 142 yards and a touchdown. Slovis now the first quarterback in USC history with 3 straight games of 400 yards. Clay Helton, head coach, gets the win. Impressed by his quarterback.
I'm proud of what he's become. Most importantly, I'm proud of how coachable he is and learns from mistakes and gets better with each time. And he winds up in his first rivalry game against UCLA and comes in, and now he's 1-0. So proud of what he's doing.
How about Keaton Slovis? How about the SC quarterback? How about we count down now the best to wear number 3 in college football history? Why not stay with the SC quarterbacks, right? Carson Palmer. You guys had mentioned the list. Mentioned the list of all the talented players, and Carson Palmer certainly that. Snapped 2 decades-long drought for USC. Heisman Trophy winners in 2002. Became the first quarterback from the school to win the award. Became the 3rd USC quarterback to lead the NCAA in pass efficiency. His career at SC also includes the 2nd most passing yards of anyone in a Trojans uniform. Carson Palmer, my guy.
I'm going Kevin Fall from LSU, the only running back in school history with 3 1,000-yard seasons, 46 rushing touchdowns. That is the most in school history. He led the SEC in yards from scrimmage 2 times.
There was a guy named Joe Montana who once upon a time started the season 3rd on the depth chart because of injuries, poor play, forced into action. All he does is lead the Irish to 9 straight wins and the national championship. You guys remember that chicken soup game?
Sure.
Had a cold, blustery conditions, down 22 points to Houston, brought him back, and I think he won 4 rings.
Yeah, how'd that work out for Scrawny?
I think okay.
All right, so we count down to number 2. We are not permitted to draft on this here program.
This is the best list we've had so far.
No question. You guys know who you want?
Oh, absolutely.
I got mine.
But I could take 3. I'd be fine.
All right, good. Well, don't tell America. Let's make them wait. You know what we're also going to make you wait for? Virtual locks. Because if you listened again, you made some money. Just trying to get you some money for the holidays. That coming up next. Virtual locks. Joey's still on a heater. What about App State football? Officially Sun Belt East Division champs. They've clinched a berth in the Sun Belt Championship. App State football continues to roll. So do we.
This is College Football Final, presented by Mazda.
Oklahoma State in a tough spot on the road against West Virginia without Spencer Sanders, their starting quarterback. Fourth quarter, they trail 13-10. Drew Brown, the handoff to Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba Hubbard's always in the highlights for Oklahoma State. 88 yards receiving, 106 yards rushing on 26 carries.
100 rushing yards in 9 straight games, longest in FBS. Then Brown to Dylan Stoner.
Good game by Drew Brown, the Hawaii transfer, finding Dylan Stoner, who's really become the go-to guy in the passing game since Tylan Wallace got
So less than 2 minutes left. West Virginia trails 4th and 12. Jarrett Dagey gets hit, throws the incomplete pass. Oklahoma State goes on the road and get the win 20-13. Kansas and Iowa State, game close, fourth quarter. Kansas trailing 27-24. Carter Stanley drops back and a dime to Stephon Robinson.
Carter Stanley's a gunslinger. 328 yards, 3 TDs against a very good Iowa State defense.
Look at you, rock chalk on the road. Later in the quarter, Iowa State, 2nd and goal, Brock Purdy, keep it. Iowa State back on top, 34-31. 2 minutes remaining. Iowa State looking to put the game away. Purdy tries again. He gets stuffed.
Yeah, and this is a big stop for Kansas. They're still in this game, have a chance to come back and get a big win.
So Matt Campbell, what do? Well, you go for it. Purdy rolls out. Sean Shaw, corner. I love it, Matt Campbell. Iowa State puts the game away in a good one. Good effort out of Kansas. So 41-31 the final. Iowa, Illinois, senior day for Nate Stanley. He's been there for a decade. First quarter, no score, 4th and 6. Stanley to Amir Smith-Marset.
Yeah, and Nate Stanley made a bunch of NFL throws in their win last week against Minnesota. Throws for another 308 yards in this one.
And then Tyler Goodson punches.
And Iowa only ran the ball for 79 yards in this game, but defense played well, getting 3 turnovers.
And we wouldn't have another Illinois comeback, would we? Fourth quarter, 3rd and 2. Brandon Peters takes it himself, loses the football. Iowa recovers. Iowa wins. And Kirk Ferentz ties Hayden Fry in Iowa for conference wins.
But there's never been a master plan. It's just kind of dumb luck, and just, you know, I'm glad I'm lucky.
Congratulations to Kirk Ferentz. Virtual locks and hurry-up offense. This is a virtual lock for Joey, Virginia, Liberty. Did you get buckshot Calverted?
No, not at all. Virginia, team in the ACC Coastal, controlling their own destiny. If they win out, they play Virginia Tech next week. People thought they might be looking ahead. I wasn't worried. As a 17-point favorite, they got the job done.
They got the cover. They get the win, so that sets it up against Virginia Tech. Virtual lock for Mr. Palmer.
Yeah, just big fan of Bud Foster's defense and the way they've been playing, especially in the second half of the year. Here, a fumble recovered by Norrell Pollard. Tech wins 28-0, and they're in charge of their own destiny. Big game next week against Virginia.
Yeah, winner take all for the ACC Coastal. Pitt, Vatek in a minute. East Carolina, UConn, virtual lock for Jesse.
Not expecting UConn's passing attack. It's been basically anemic these last couple weeks.
Big time.
To put up 418 against ECU.
I was so thrown off, I wanted to do the other highlight again, but how did this happen?
We watched a lot. We watched more UConn football today than we have all year.
In history, not a cover for Palmer. 15-10, respectable. Joey again. 2-0, 13-1 over the past 7 weeks. 20-5. Sir, quickly. Anything.
Yeah, I would like to stop right now.
You can't.
At 20-5.
You're not allowed.
Like fire alarms have been going off here.
Seriously, Vegas is on to you.
Why? There's smoke.
All right, time for what were you thinking? We got a pizza race.
Yeah. Oh my God.
This looks like the Sigma Chi
There you
house.
go. That dude right there works for Domino's.
Yeah, not great athletes in this race.
No. See, he's pinning it against his face.
Do college kids still dip pizza in ranch dressing?
Oh.
If so, it's disgusting. Indiana 5. Look at the little guy.
Yeah, keep him warm.
Here's my
is that
flannel.
keeping him warm, or
Yeah,
is Dad
exactly.
keeping himself warm?
I think little baby's keeping the dad warm, and then here's the best part. He pulled out and hit himself with a selfie. And then Louisville players.
Oh. tackled, friendly 5.
Yeah, we got to take a look, see if that's targeting.
Oh.
That might be targeting.
Can you target your own
by
guy?
80. I think you can.
Would that be the most embarrassing thing in
That
history?
hit was awful high.
Wouldn't someone asking for a Louisville helmet sticker?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, let's tease it.
Okay, we had someone hitting us up for helmet sticker. We had a lot of people hitting us up today. Who gets the most coveted prize in all of college football? Find out next.
College Football Final is presented by Mazda. Feel alive.
Monday Night Football, Rams-Ravens. Coverage begins 6 p.m. Eastern, ESPN and the ESPN app. Let's check in on Memphis and South Florida. Second quarter, Memphis trails 10-7. Second and goal from the 5. Patrick Taylor Jr. takes the pitch. 5-yard TD. Memphis takes the lead.
Kenneth Gainwell had over 100 yards rushing, but how about Patrick Taylor? 95 yards and 3 tutties.
And who's been better right now than Brady White for the Tigers? 50-yard TD here.
South Florida hanging around in this game. 222 yards for White and 2 touchdowns.
That's what Memphis does. They will step on you quick. Antonio Gibson, 18
Yeah, Mike Norvell is an excellent offensive mind calling plays. Cannot wait to see them against Cincinnati's defense next week.
Now the second 10-win season under Norvell. Look at the cat. There's a cat on the field. Memphis rolls 49-10. You mentioned that game against Luke Fickell and Cincinnati hosting Temple. Kobe Bryant. Yes, Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant?
It was amazing.
The Black Mamba?
Yeah, he came out of retirement and then blocks this and then returns it 98 yards for 2-point conversion.
When Cincinnati plays, you can guarantee it's going to be a close football game, coming down to field goal kicks. This one, they block one, take it all the way back to get to 15 points.
Yeah, what is that about them?
I don't know.
Why is it so close all the time? That ended up being a factor. Anthony Russo to Kenny Yeboah for the touchdown. Temple trails 15-13 after the made extra point. Temple would be up 1 if not for the block extra point. So a minute and a half left in the game. Temple a chance. Russo long. Pick.
This is what Cincinnati's defense has been so good at this year. Came in the game with 22 takeaways, 3rd in the nation. With the win, they clinched the American East.
15-13 close. They're in it. What about a little Mountain West action? Boise State, Utah State. Shades of Jared Zabransky.
Seen this before? Boise State's in the number
Johnson.
20. The group of 5 teams, this is a big win for Boise State as they try to stay there with Memphis and with Cincinnati as those 2 teams play next week. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the rankings.
Propose.
Boise State.
Propose to your girlfriend.
Dominant.
Do it.
Don't do it.
Hot plays from Saturday. San Jose State's Josh Love up for his receiver. Ball popped out by San Jose tight end Brett Foley, and he's there to make the catch for the touchdown still.
Just how you dry it up.
I think
practice.
so. Yeah.
That's good hustle.
I got it. Now
Still
you got it.
hustling. Still hustling.
Actually, you might be on
Basically like a hook and
I
ladder.
think that was designed. Number 4, Nebraska, Maryland. Adrian Martinez. This is when you know things are going good for you and bad for the other team.
Yeah, this is Maryland team that has been in a complete struggle right now. 2 defenders touch the ball, and it's still a touchdown
J.D.
for Nebraska.
Spielman's
2
like, I'll
passes.
take that.
2 pass minimum. Like basketball.
Cornhuskers roll 54-7. Albany and Stony Brook. Albany receiver pass from Gerald Reeves to Tyler Odikoven.
Hey, you're wearing a helmet. You might as well use it. Pin that thing David Tyree style against the dome.
Look at that.
Well, I don't know. The ground helped
Yeah,
them.
that might have hit the
We need to
ground.
review
Can we
that.
review that?
Take a look at that.
All right.
D3, Mount Union, Hanover. Josh Putrelli, Mount Union. Oh, my. He's not down.
Stay on your feet. 3 defenders completely stopped.
I'm going to give him one more shot at the name Petrocelli just because it was a great play.
Dollar.
I think I nailed it. Number 1, Utah State, Jordan Love.
I was going to say, where's the one-handed catch?
Where's the other? Where's the
Hammer
one-handed?
and
There it is.
You know what that is? The gloves are too tackified now.
I don't think he used the right hand.
That is
at all.
Right
And he gets the left
He thought
foot
about
down.
using the right and was like, no. I can't
He
get on
did.
top plays.
Heck
All right,
no.
helmet sticker time. Let's have some fun. Joe, we'll start with you.
Anthony Gordon, Washington State, 606 yards, 6 touchdowns, second most in Pac-12 history.
Javian Hawkins has been outstanding. Freshman running back for Louisville. Goes for 233 and a touch against Syracuse. Most yards by a running back in a game since 2007. That's his 6th 100-yard game. Most by freshman in school history.
All the quarterbacks at USC history, and Keaton Slovis the first to ever throw for 500 yards. He set a school record, 515, 3rd most by a freshman in Pac-12 history. Keaton Slovis, you get your helmet sticker.
I'm going Tommy Bryant, 154 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, as Kennesaw State becomes the first team in the Big South Conference with 3 straight 10-win seasons.
Chase Young had himself a day. He's really had himself a year. Okay, so get this. As a defensive end, 9 tackles, 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 7 QB pressures, 2 forced fumbles. In a huge game of the year against Penn State, he's the first guy in the Big Ten since Brandon Graham at Michigan back in 2008 to have multiple games with at least 3 sacks.
We're happy to have him back then.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, true freshman, Arizona State, outdid Justin Herbert. 408 yards. 408 yards. 3 touchdowns. First Arizona State quarterback with 400 yards in a win over a top 10 team since Andrew Walter, 2002. Sparky gets the
No one's ever been more excited to give a helmet sticker.
Oregon. All right, we got a great story and a bonus helmet sticker for you coming from Saturday in the game. Youngstown State hosting Illinois State. This is Youngstown State quarterback Nathan Mays. He lost to the end of the year with a season-ending ankle injury. His teammates carried him out and let him take a knee in the final play of the game. What a moment for the player.
It was pretty crazy. It didn't hit me until I actually did it, and then I saw my dad in tears, so that it was pretty special.
And that's what makes college football so special. So a bonus helmet sticker to Nathan Mays and Youngstown State for what a moment for them on Saturday as we get to the final week. Guys, it's Thanksgiving week. Can you believe it?
I can believe it because I won't be here.
I'll see you on Thursday, and I will not see you Thursday.
Gobble, gobble.
I'll be at the club.